First Crass Sunday Night Podcast. I'm your host. Hey Jay, joining me as always, RGT85, aka the Crassy One.
Hello.
Hi sir, how are you?
Good. I'm sorry. I was just looking at
You're doing the dual
my
screen now, aren't you?
yeah. I was just checking my email. My power bill for the month came in. I was curious to see how much that was going to be because I have adopted a new nighttime regimen of I take a bath every night.
Wow.
Yep. I have some.
Candles?
Nah, I got lavender. It's a mix of lavender and Epsom salts. A bubble bath, and like I just make like a really hot ass bath and like, dude, it's so relaxing. Like sometimes it helps me sleep. Like sometimes I'll go to bed, I'll fall asleep at like midnight or 1, which is like super good for me.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I don't know, it just relaxes me so much that like my brain starts working. And like last night, it was literally 6:30 in the morning, and I was still awake, but I was sitting there like reciting my whole Black Ops 4 review in my head. And then when I went to film it today, it was so easy because I had already thought of it because everything was just very crystal clear. Yeah, it's legit shit, man. Very relaxing.
Can we expect an RGT in the tub series soon?
You know, people have been asking for the RGT After Dark series, but I don't know. That might be a bit much.
I do like RGT in the tub. There's a good sound to that.
Man, the naps. I mean, naps. The baths are on point.
They are. Since I moved to this building, I have no baths, so I miss them dearly. If this is your first time joining us on the Class vs. Crass podcast, it's more than just baths. We talk about gaming for a whole hour. We're going to get into what we've been playing. Tonight, we have a special headline where we're going to talk about video game preservation as a topic. Should it be done? How should it be done? There's a lot to dive into there, so we're going to explore. You're welcome to join the discussion. I'm not sure how steady the stream is going to be tonight because I'm getting a lot of red lights from YouTube, and my encoder's saying everything's fine. So I blame YouTube if there's any problems tonight.
It looks fine on the playback, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, the red light scares me. So let's get started with, I don't think you're snacking on anything. Are you snacking on anything? I guess.
Yes, I am.
All right, what have you been snacking on?
I'm eating king size Nutter Butters. I've been avoiding going to the grocery store because I'm lazy, and so I have to go tomorrow though. So I've just been stocking up on random crap from CvS, and they had these 3 for $3. You get 8 big Nutter Butters in a package.
What is a Nutter Butter?
It is a peanut butter cookie with peanut butter in it.
Wow, we don't have those. Sounds delicious.
They are. When they legalized pot in Canada
in 3 days.
They should bring these in here because it's a very good stoner snack.
It's kind of wild because we're 3 days away from pot being legal here, and I have no idea. Like there's barely any buzz about it. You'd think that there'd be a lot of, I don't know, stuff going on, but if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't even know. I don't even know where it's even going to be sold or where you can even pick it up.
Well, there should be dispensaries and shit like that. Like in Colorado, it's legal there. I got some friends who live out there and actually work at dispensaries and stuff like that. I mean, it's smart. It should be, it should be legal everywhere, even if you're sort of against it. I mean, just for the tax purposes, like you can tax the shit and make money to put into your schools and shit. Like you do it with gambling, you do it with liquor. Like fuck, it's not like it's Coke or something like that.
Agreed. No, I think it's a great move. Instead of having a whole underworld economy for it, just put into the proper social construct and get social benefits for it. So
exactly.
I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out. Personally, I prefer having people high versus having people drunk. Like you never see someone high do anything violent or just stupid or chill, but on streets actually you wouldn't even see someone high on streets. I feel like you always get the rowdy crowds that are drunk, but I can't imagine you get a rowdy crowd that's high, right?
I mean, it depends on what you're high on. If you're just high on pot, like downers and shit like that, then no, you're very mellow. You can actually like honestly, I always say if I have to choose between driving or riding with a drunk driver or riding with someone who's just high on pot, I would rather ride with someone high on pot because you just focus on one thing, whereas a drunk driver you can't focus on shit. I know from experience, but yeah, like you won't. You just get mellowed out. If you're high on PCP or crack or some
Yeah, well,
shit like that,
that's a whole other story.
that's a whole other thing. But yeah, pot. I don't smoke it anymore. Haven't smoked it in a long time. Probably will never smoke it again. But I don't. I don't think it's not as something terrible.
Yeah. RPG puts a good point. The worry of people going to work high.
Got to worry about people coming to work drunk.
Yeah, but I feel it's more noticeable. Like if you're drunk, I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, I've worked with people that are high. I've gone to work high. When I was 16, 17 years old working at Sonic, we would go smoke pot and do other shit. In the back of this, like, fuck, man, the manager was slanging pills out in the fucking store that we worked at. Like, it was, we still made the food. You still got the right drinks and shit most of the time.
I see you're back to Diet Dr. Pepper tonight. It's good to see you back. Welcome back.
No, I mix it up.
Okay.
I got my water right next to me.
All right. Well, we're going back to our classic drinks tonight because I'll show the glass of wine because I'm back to my wine tonight. However, I'm trying something really weird. I usually get like proper wine. This time I got grocery store wine because I'm cheap now. It comes in this weird container. It's like a juice box. But it's surprising. I thought it'd be pretty nasty, but it's actually quite smooth, surprisingly. So we'll see how that goes.
Shout out to Mad Little Pixel in the chat. Good channel. He's been growing nicely, doing good work. I watch your stuff very late at night because that's when I watch my YouTube. But you usually upload very late at night. For East Coast, so very very enjoyable stuff. He takes a look at different different things.
About what?
Like some of the new arcade, little mini arcade stuff like that. The shit you find at Walmart and Target and stuff like that. He basically takes the bullet for cheap asses like me who see it and are like, I don't want to buy that, and sees if it's decent or not. Good stuff. He
goes into the deep end. Well, welcome, Mad Little Pixel. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Definitely seemed like a new name. So yeah, everyone do check out his stuff if you have the chance. I'll definitely be taking a look at it after. All right, let's get into what have you been. Wait. Let's get this title thing ready. I gotta get used to this. What have you been playing?
A lot of stuff. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we gotta train you on that. Like when I raise my hand or something, just like wait till I put it down.
I don't even look at you.
Oh,
I have like 50 screens up right now.
I know. Don't even look at the audience.
I do. How else would I have known Mad Little Pixels in the chat?
I mean, in the camera.
Oh, yeah. Here. Hold on. You know what?
What's happening? I mean, as much as I like the right side of your face, look at that.
I need to get
this is the view you should have had the whole time.
I don't think of things like that. The lighting isn't as good.
The light is definitely not as good. Yeah.
I don't feel like turning on the big light over there because it just blinds you. Like 10 minutes of that when I'm filming a video, I'm like, I need sunglasses. What have I been playing? Yeah. I guess. Do you want me to talk about stuff that? Jesus, it's a kids show. You want me to talk about stuff? Okay, for the stuff I can't really talk about, I've been playing a game called Sinner, which is coming out on the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. Embargo is Tuesday morning, so I guess I got to work on that tomorrow. It's basically a Dark Souls style game that's more of like Dark Souls mechanics mixed with Fury. I can't really say much about it. I'm playing the Switch version because that's what I asked for a review copy. But yeah, interesting game. Look out for the review. I think some people will actually enjoy the game. Some people maybe not so much. What else? Been playing. I played some more Spider-Man. I still haven't finished the game. I'm almost at 50% of the story now. Okay. I just sort of pick it up and play it for a couple hours and then move on about my day, just whenever I sort of think about it. Still playing my Street Fighter Arcade 1-Up Arcade Cab. It's been a week and a half. I play it every day. I still have no problems with it. So obviously built pretty decently because, I get mad. But surprisingly, the game that I have been playing a lot of, especially the past 2 days, and pretty much the only thing I've been playing, Black Ops 4.
Yeah, share some stuff about it because I'm not playing that. I only saw it. I was at a bar. They were playing it there.
So I had no intention on buying this game. I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't going to review it. I got other shit going on. You know, Starlink comes out this upcoming week. Got Sinner, Dark Souls Remastered comes out at the end of the week. So it was going to be a very busy week. I didn't think about this game. I didn't really care about it. I thought it looked like a $30 to $40 sort of bargain bin game, just based on the fact that they got rid of single player and shit like that. I remember that I actually have a good Activision contact. I just sent him an email late Friday night, and he got back with me and gave me a code that same night. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll check it out. And I really like it.
It looks like PUBG on steroids.
Well, you know, there's several different modes. And I'm going to spoil my review, but you still have to go watch it anyways because Papa's got to eat. So the Blackout mode obviously was the mode that a lot of people were interested in. And I thought it was going to be a simple cash grab on the Battle Royale, you know, phenomenon. And then the focus would be on the standard, you know, the standard multiplayer and the standard zombie stuff. But it's not. Like, they actually made a super enjoyable Battle Royale mode that it feels more like a big ass death match than
like big ass tit.
Okay, Jesus, children's show.
You can't say this is a children's show when you're on it.
It feels like a big ass death match with fun things going on. It's super accessible. Fortnite and PUBG, I still, you know, after, you know, 5 or 6 games, I was still like learning how to play the game. This, after one match, everything clicked. I understood what I needed to do. Everything is mapped very well on the controller, like basic things like, okay, so when you play Fortnite, you want to have your medi packs on there. And so instead of having to switch between them, like Medipacks, you can have anything that's a quick acting thing just with a press of a button. So then, you know, you're getting shot at, boom, 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 throw in some Medipacks, you're good to go. It's very accessible because when you pick up a gun and you find an attachment for that gun, if it can work with that gun, it'll automatically attach it for you. You can turn that off, but it'll automatically attach it for you. So the next thing you know, you've got a decent little arsenal. The map itself is amazing. It's so varied. There's an asylum, like a full huge
it's
asylum.
A kid's show.
I didn't say it though. There's a huge asylum that is like the size of like 3 TDM matches or team deathmatch maps. That's just a small portion of this huge map. The vehicles are smooth. The combat very smooth. Like it there's no reason to play PUBG anymore.
Right.
There's still a reason to play.
PUBG's slower.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be really slow if you're playing it on the Xbox One or Xbox One S. Like, you have to have an X for that game to be worth a damn, in my opinion. Or, of course, play it on PC. But, you know, I played PUBG. I tried to play PUBG. I never had fun with it. I never could get into it. It was too laggy. It was too shitty. But like, this is just, it's really good. And then, you know, the lack of a single player does suck. But it's funny because you could definitely tell at one point in time there was going to be a full single player. Because in the single player thing, which is called Specialist, you basically just use the different specialists that are available in things like TDM and stuff like that. And you just learn how to use them. But there's cutscenes in between them, and they try to have like a little story. But it's like, okay, so imagine the original Splatoon. Imagine that single player with like some deep ass random cutscenes from time to time that are trying to tell some sort of bullshit story. And it's like,
Splatoon does try to tell some kind of bullshit story.
Right. It's very similar in that regard. But at the end of the day, it's literally like you learn the different specialists' things, and then like you're just in a TDM with bots on like a standard TDM map. As far as the rest of the multiplayer goes, they played it safe, I feel. You know, things like TDM, shit like that. Pretty stock Call of Duty stuff, but it works. You know, it's definitely better than Black Ops 3 because I absolutely hated the flying around stupid bullshit jump mechanics. They got rid of those. You know, it's very fast paced. I do miss the older style of Call of Duty, like in Modern Warfare, where you could have like proper snipers and, you know, chill in a perch. And like, if you're a good sniper, you could take people out and it would be fun when people try to come up and get you and stuff like that. There's really none of that. You're just really running around the map a lot. But zombies, I admittedly never got into zombies. I did play it for the review portion of the video. It seems good. You know, it seems fine. I think people that enjoy zombies will like it. But Blackout is the definitive, in my opinion, pseudo-realistic battle royale game. I don't think Fortnite is going to be affected by this because I look at Fortnite as more of a fun pick up and play thing. You know, I don't even play the solo shit anymore or stuff like that.
Like the biggest difference between Fortnite and PUBG before, like there was a huge difference with shooting, right? I think like Fortnite, you had an actual arch tier bullets. So from just a shooting perspective, like I know there's no building in Blackout. Anyway, COD.
Yeah.
Like how does that compare? So if you would compare PUBG to Fortnite, you would say, oh well, your bullets can, you know, have an arch in Fortnite. Is Call of Duty the same to PUBG in that sense that you could compare it to Fortnite in the same way? Or are they very different?
I would say in terms of shooting, it's more like PUBG. You don't have to worry about arcs or anything like that because you have so many, like, for instance, there's a I was just playing a match actually before the stream and I finished fucking second in a solo match. Should have won. But you know, I was on top of a big ass construction building and like just looking down and I would see people, and since I had like a nice scope on my gun, like I could just pick them off from a distance. Dude, I camp like a motherfucker. I don't care. I'm here to win. Okay. I'm here to win.
All right.
But yeah, it surprised the hell out of me. Like in my review,
does it shrink faster? So like a standard match would be 15 minutes if you let the circle shrink all the way. Is it kind of the same thing?
Yeah, roughly. Okay. And there's quads and duos as well. I'm interested to see. The only thing I'm really worried about with that game was really two things. They're gonna have to essentially make Blackout its own thing. I feel because, you know, in 6 months from now, or 5-6 months from now, they're gonna have to sell Blackout as an individual thing in order to keep people within Call of Duty. I am sort of worried about the storefront of the game because there is a big season pass for like $60 and all this bullshit. Yeah. So I'm worried that they're going to include a bunch of shit behind paywalls and stuff like that. But as the game stands right now, like, it's hard for me to say this because I honestly don't feel this way about a lot of multiplayer games. But I think it's worth a pickup. Like, if you have enjoyed a Call of Duty game, and I'm sure, you know, most of us have, and I've been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360. It's definitely very fun. It's refined, and there's enough modes with the online. If you're buying it for single player, don't. I said that in my review. Don't. If you were the 10% or whatever that finished the single player in the last Call of Duty, don't buy this game because there is no single player. But if you like competitive, simplistic but fun and accessible multiplayer shooters, I think they nailed it. I really do. And
do you think
that's hard for me to say because I didn't like Black Ops 3. I hated Black Ops 3, and I was okay with World War II. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. But like this, it's a good game.
Do you think Battlefield 5 is going to change things up, or is it going to be kind of like in the battle royale mode?
Fucked. Battlefield 5 is fucked.
Why?
No matter what they do, they're fucked.
Why is that?
They've shot themselves in the foot so many times with, you know, no DLC. Oh wait, there's DLC. Oh, we have to delay the game. You know, shit like that.
So they're stumbling out the door. So.
They're stumbling out the door, and the fact that Call of Duty, if Black Ops 4 wasn't as good as it is, they would have a chance. But the fact that Black Ops 4 came out first, has that Call of Duty name, which always, you know, for the most part, outsells Battlefield. I think it always does, honestly. And the fact that it's good, they're fucked. They're fucked. It's just like when that Crazy Justice game was supposed to beat Fortnite to the Nintendo Switch. Once Fortnite hit the Switch, Crazy Justice was fucked.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the Battle Royale formula in 2019. I wonder if that's the year that we're going to see Fortnite actually start dropping off the charts and something new comes into the mix, or what's going to happen. I can't imagine Fortnite, like maybe another year of Fortnite being at the top, but I can't imagine it being much more than that.
What do you think could knock it off its perch? See, the thing about Fortnite is they're always adding in crazy shit. Like right now, there's Disco Domination, where it's a game mode where it's 50v50, but the object is there's 5 different places on the map that are dance floors, and you have to take over the dance floor and stuff like that. Like they're constantly, the one thing that keeps Fortnite ahead is the fact that they're constantly reinventing, they're constantly adding stuff to it. So because of that, it's like there's always sort of a different experience that you can experience. Whereas games like Call of Duty and PUBG, they don't really do that in terms of changing up things like that, because they really can't, because it's more based on realistic, situations more so than this fantasy world that Fortnite is in.
Right. Well, I mean, like before I would argue it was Minecraft that was like the hot thing with, the preteens, the teens, all that. To predict Fortnite at that time was impossible. Like no one could have predicted this battle royale genre would have come out of the woodworks and Fortnite would have dominated everything. So I feel it's almost impossible to really predict what the next craze is going to be. Like it could be completely left field and a whole new genre of gaming that we don't even know what it is today. So I'm not even going to try to guess.
The interesting thing about battle royale is that it's been around from like before Fortnite and PUBG. Like H1Z1 was in a beta for fucking ever, and I actually played that game on my computer just to see what it was about. I remember, I think it was like $5 or $10 on Steam, and I was just like, I keep hearing people talk about this, I want to try it. But yeah, like it was, the thing about Fortnite was it was the first battle royale game to bring it to the masses. And like I remember when PUBG was starting to gain steam, back when Rerez used to stream like a couple times a week, he was streaming a lot of PUBG. And like I would watch him and I would like what I saw, but then whenever, I could never play the game just because I didn't have a good PC. And then by the time it came out to the Xbox One, it was a steaming pile of shit.
Right. Well, as you know, it's not my field. I tried to get into Fortnite. I literally tried after you told me that there was a whole like leveling up system in a season. I picked it up, I tried, I got in, I'm like, all right, to get some XP, I need to be in the top 25. I literally just like hid behind a rock, I put my controller down, I started looking through my phone for like 5 minutes because I'm just like, well, I just have to survive to get my XP. I was so bored, I got my XP, I leveled up, and I'm just like, I'm not doing this. This is such a waste of time. And I moved on and I picked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is what I've been playing in the past week. And it's been an interesting ride so far. Were you done, by the way, with what have you been playing? You kind of
I'm good.
Squeezed 15 minutes out of that. So with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was really gushing about it last week. Then early in the week, I was hesitant. Like on social media, I was starting to say, oh, my love for it is dying. And then I picked it up this weekend and I put another like 10, 15 hours in, and I'm back in love with it. So this game is a game that I feel can be played so many different ways. You really have to find what it is about it that you want to make it yours and how you want to play it. And I found a way to keep me hooked, which is I want to kind of clear everything. I like to get in the game. I go to every location. I want to discover them and I want to 100% them. That's the way I want to play this game, which means I'm picking up every quest. The game opened up now where I've learned that there's like, this isn't a spoiler, but there's like a cult with a bunch of members. You don't know their identity. There's like 30 or something members. So you have like this chart and you have to work your way. So there's like 6 branches. Each branch has like 5 cult members. You have to kill like 5 cult members first you have to get clues to unveil who those cult members are, to find them and kill them. And then after you've unveiled a bunch of them, you can reveal the leader and find out the leader. And once you've killed all 6 leaders, then you reveal the one in the center who controls everything. So that aspect of the game has opened up now to me, and that's really interesting. So now I'm all about that. What else? The story. So I'm about past chapter 4 now, which usually an Assassin's Creed game has about 12 chapters. So I'd say I'm about a third into it. Really enjoying it. The naval combat has opened up. Legendary gear has opened up in a way that I understand now. I can actually build sets from the legendary gear. So like there's 5 pieces of every gear set. If you get all pieces, you get like a gear bonus, which is, I'm all down for that. I can't put this game down right now. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is really picking it up for me. The naval combat isn't as good as Black Flag. Like I don't really want to be on the sea fighting other ships because it's so much more limited. But it is what it is. It gets you around the islands. So
What you're saying
it's
is
good
you're a seaman.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Oh, okay.
I yeah.
I actually watched an interesting video last night on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, how the leveling system works, and like how if you want to actually beat the game without using the double XP boost, like you're fucked.
What double XP boost?
You can buy that XP boost for $10.
Oh, so a lot of people are complaining about that. I'm at level 17. I don't know at what point it becomes grindy, but
23.
Okay. So up to this point, it's been very natural. I've never felt like I'm under level because the quests level up with you from what I've experienced so far. Every time I level up, the quest levels up. So you can never, power level through an area, which is kind of a good thing. So
like the guy's point in his video, like this motherfucker like made graphs and shit of like calculations on how much killing this person does and stealth, how much killing this person head on does. Like it's a crazy video, but the gist of it was if you don't go through, if you skip all the side missions, you cannot beat the game. If you do some of the side missions, you maybe can beat the game. Just based on the leveling system. Like there's graphs that show what level you need to be, and like the correlation is, so the middle is the progression of the game. If you get the double XP thing, you're always right above it. And then the actual game, it's like you're below it. There's a spike in the middle of the game where it's very, very hard to get past this one area, and then the end of the game you're fucked. Nothing you can do about it.
I wonder where he got his data to make those graphs.
He came up with it himself.
Yeah, but he has to, to get that data, you have to study something. Like either he filled it in by measuring stuff or he collected. So I'm very skeptical as to how he got that data, because you need a lot of data to get to do any kind of chart like that.
This guy, I mean, he has glasses, so I assume he's.
Oh, he must be that. He has the superpowers.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll let you know how it goes. I'm at level 17, so probably by next week or then I'll start getting into those early 20s, and I'll let you know how that goes. All right, let's get into a little bit of news before we get into our major headline. But before, transition time. All right, last week in news was pretty quiet, but there's one thing worth talking about, and that is the N64 Classic had some images leak. Sean, I know you covered it over on our GT85. What's the scoop?
So basically, these pictures were posted to Reddit from a Spanish gentleman who said that he was sent these pictures from a reliable source. Some people say that the pictures are fake. Some people think that the pictures are real. If I have to make a decision, I would lean towards real just because of the intricate details of it. Obviously, people can make a 3D shell of whatever, but something very interesting is there's three things that are interesting. The first thing being it uses the same gray tongue as the Super Nintendo Classic. As far as pulling it out, people said, oh, well, it's much longer in that. Well, yeah, because you have to have 4 controller ports. Speaking of the controller ports, if you look at the actual controller ports, I'm sure this won't show up, but there's 2 gold specks. There's one in the upper left and the lower right on the inside of the controller port there.
Yeah. See it?
Can you see it?
I see it.
Okay. The N64 model has those same specs.
Right.
Like if you're making a model of something like this to try and fool people, you're not putting those 2 gold specks on there. Like you're not, like, you wouldn't think to do that. You wouldn't think to go that in depth. And the final thing is just the branding on the underside of the system. It's exactly the same as this, but if you look, this says mod CLV 201. They actually went ahead and made it mod 301 on this. So it's just the little intricate details make me believe that it's real, even if it's not real. Like even if the pictures are not real, the system itself is real. We all know it's coming. More than likely, it'll be at the November Nintendo Direct announced for the spring. So I don't know. It was a fun little interesting story to talk about because nobody was talking about it, and I beat them all out of the gate.
Do people like that the front cover flops down and put that shitty controller port.
I don't hate it. I mean, I don't hate it. I like the styling of the actual system, how it's bleh.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do it wireless.
Money. It costs more money. A wireless controller is a lot more expensive than a non-wireless controller.
But how much more?
Much more.
Like, you don't know, I don't know. I don't think it's that much more. But who knows?
Well, see, Mike says that the Switch Fake was pretty good. The difference with the Stewie Griffin controller is that we knew nothing about the Switch or the NX at the time. Like, we knew nothing about it. Whereas this, you know what an N64 looks like. You know what the system is more than likely going to look like. So you can look for little intricacies as far as, consistencies. And, like, the two little gold specks, the fact that it uses the exact same tongue, and the fact that it has the same, even in the support.nintendo.com made in China is like 1-to-1 on this thing. I just feel like if there were fake pictures and everything was fake about it, you would just show like this. You'd be like, oh, look, N64 Classic. And you would just have like one simple picture. You wouldn't have the controller ports with the gold shit. You wouldn't have the stuff on the bottom. You wouldn't even bother to do that unless you're just a very sadistic person who has nothing but pure time on their hands to make something like this. So I don't know, maybe they are.
You think we're gonna see it for this holiday season? Like, I feel we would have seen it by now.
No, it'll be spring because what will happen is that'll cause a huge spike in sales.
Yeah.
And if they do it before March when the fiscal year's up, they can put it in those standings money wise.
I feel that what they can do is, Smash is their big hit for this holiday season. Smash is going to sell. And then what you can do in Q1 or Q2 is you release the N64 Classic with the original Smash. So now you have like all of this Smash hype and you can write it and just say like, hey, do you remember the original one? Boom. Because the classics are really geared towards the nostalgia. It's for the people who might have left the Nintendo brand and aren't so much into gaming anymore. And I feel that the Classic series is all about bringing that audience back into gaming. So you do that and you're like, hey, come back. Remember old Smash? By the way, there's a new one. Why don't you get that while you're at it? And put Pokemon Stadium in there. Sure, James. Yeah, absolutely.
And Pokemon Snap.
That would be a loss if they didn't put it in there. It's a good
Pokemon game. Snap is such a good game. Why the hell did they never make the sequel on the Wii U? It's like, hey, we have this stupid gamepad. You got to be within 5 feet of your television or else it won't work.
Right.
And we're going to use it as a camera in Fatal Frame and make a really good Fatal Frame game. But we've never made a game that involved a camera before, so it's not like we should, make an HD remaster of a game that came out on the N64 that would actually benefit from using the gamepad like a camera.
And it would have had a great name. You could have called it Pokemon U Snap.
Or Pokemon Snap U.
No, I prefer U Snap.
Well, whatever. But it would have been such an easy game to make. You take the source code, you add in some HD visuals, you're done. Add in like a different park that you sit through, exclusive park. You're like, shit, people would have bought that. I would have bought it.
Speaking of source code, what if it was lost?
That's why I said that.
Oh, you sneaky man. We are aligned. Source code and video game preservation are main headline for tonight. And this was inspired by an article put out by IGN. Yes, sometimes I do read what they do over there. They put out a very interesting article this past week looking at video game preservation. How should it be done? Or as the title of this podcast is, should it be done and how? So we've already got emulation that's been happening for the past couple decades, which is a form of preservation, but a lot of it has been shut down because the owners or the founders of those sites or those ROMs or emulators monetized it, which is crossing the line and making a no-no. Now, as the video game industry hits about the 30, 40-year mark, we're getting to the point where this needs to become a conversation because you look at any other form of art and there is a conversation about preservation, and there are organizations out there which seek to preserve artwork. I always like to compare video games to film because I feel it's kind of the next evolution, basically at the original pieces of art. Then you got film. Then you got video games. You look at film. Film has really. I would argue preservation probably started for film somewhere in the 80s, maybe. I don't know. That's just a shot in the dark. But a lot of old classic films have a lot of preservation's effort behind them to either remaster them or bring them in new formats as the old film, the actual film, deteriorates and stuff. Case in point is Star Wars, which we got the special editions out of. Hate it or love it, that's up to you. So with video games, it's very different. Yes, you've got emulation, but then what do you do with games like MMOs that are only online? What do you do with games like Kingdom Hearts, where the source code was actually lost? It's not happening right now. There is no single worldwide organization that is recognized for video game preservation. And let's start the conversation there with, should there be one? And if so, what would that look like? Do you have any thoughts?
It'd be hard. It would be hard. You'd have so many people that you'd have to go through, because take a game like Kingdom Hearts. It's not just a Square Enix game. It's a Square Enix and Disney game. You have to have licensing for all of those voice actors. You have to have, there's so many barriers to cross. I don't, with things like compilation packages, the Sega Genesis Classics collection that just recently came out and is now coming to the Switch. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's as far as video game preservation will ever really get. And emulation. I think emulation is very important because these people dump the games. You can go online and find a Kingdom Hearts 1 ISO in a second. Mm-hmm. But it's tough. I don't think there would ever be a national organization for it, just because there's so many bridges to cross. There's so many things. Each individual, each individual game is a different story. Each individual game is a different species. You can't compare a game like Solomon's Key on the NES, sort of an inside joke, Solomon's Key on the NES to something like Metal Gear Solid 2. They're very different scales of games. Solomon's Key was developed by I think it was Taito. It was probably developed by a couple different people. Didn't use any licensing. It's all original IP stuff. Whereas a game like Metal Gear Solid 2, you have music that was created specifically for the game. You have voice actors that are specifically in the game. You have animation studios. The team was probably thousands of people.
Right. Well, after a certain period, I'm not that well versed with copyright laws, but from what I recall from like high school courses, after 25 or maybe 30 or maybe it's even 50 years, anything that doesn't get a copyright renewed basically becomes public domain. And at that point, you can do whatever you want with it. You don't owe anybody any rights. And the gaming industry is getting to that threshold where a lot of content could potentially fall into the public domain.
You don't think people will...
RPG says it's 50 years plus one day. So, we're looking at it in the next decade.
You don't think Nintendo and Atari, the new people who own the Atari brand, you don't think they're going to try to...
Well, Nintendo will definitely, because they are a 100-plus-year-old company, so they don't care about... Like, they're in the business of renewing their IPs. And that's a good point that you brought up Sega and Nintendo, actually, because I would say Sega is probably the best company right now to preserve their history in the form of these recollections. You disagree? Where's
Panzer Dragoon Saga? Okay. Arguably the best Sega Saturn game of all time. One of the most expensive Sega Saturn games. You know why that game's never been released on anything else?
I'm assuming it's lost? Or
they lost the source code. So, what do you do there?
Well, two things could happen. So I assume in a case like that, you still have the original. You can still find the game and play it on an original Dreamcast, right? Or Saturn. That's the only way that you can play it, right?
Yeah, after you spend $700-800.
Okay. So the only way that you could really preserve that is by cheating it and recreating it from scratch like they did with Kingdom Hearts.
Because or you can emulate it.
Or you can emulate it. Yeah.
So isn't the process of emulation basically the preservation? because ROMs are, everywhere and easily available, and even if you have to go through a torrent, like, does there really need to be a foundation that's gonna make money on this shit? And
Well, it shouldn't make money. That's the whole point of preserving. It should be like a museum where it doesn't make money. It's all about showing these games to future generations, and that's one of the arguments of this topic tonight. Is there even worth in that? It's one thing to look at an old classic film where it's an hour of your time, you look at it and you say, well, this was shitty, this was good, this was pretty genius for its time, versus although I would argue old video games, a lot of them didn't require your attention for more than an hour. Like, these games you could easily pick up and play for 20 minutes and be more than satisfied of your experience with it, right?
Yeah.
And when I say those games, that's like anything from 2000 and before, maybe. That could be a stretch, maybe 95 and before. So do you think that there's even value in that? In the next generations, the developers of the next generation, do you think that it's valuable for them to look at games from the earlier gens?
Of course. They still sell, don't they?
Yeah. They do.
I mean, I don't think it's as cut and dry as something like film would be and music would be, because when film and music first started out, there wasn't all this trademark copyright bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, I assume you're talking about shit from like the 1920s to 40s, right?
I'm sure there's stuff lost because preservation wasn't at the top of the list at that time.
Right, but it comes, 1975,
yeah.
You have copyrights, you have trademarks, you have things like that. The world obviously changed. So it's, all because these old films that are currently available for public domain and preservation exist, that also is indicative of the world at that time. Whereas, I'll be interested to see when movies from the 80s are available for public domain, how many of them are actually going to go to public domain? You don't think that those companies that, have that, dotted sign, cross their T's and dotted their I's, when it comes to shit like that, it's not as cut and dry, all because you can preserve these old movies and old music from the past that had no, you had no real huge distribution of them. It was just, these small startup companies, because it was a brand new thing. Whereas, it's going to be very different. It's not, it's a nice article. It definitely brings up some good points, but it's very short-sighted in the fact that they don't equate what is going on in timing.
Right. That's a very good point, because, the fact that you raised the point of the 80s and our 80s films going to be fall into public domain, I would say no, because what we're seeing with our generation is we're seeing this phenomenon of nostalgia. Like, nostalgia is now marketable, and it's a business. And that's why you're seeing all of this old stuff from 30 years ago. Like, those IPs have a lot of value to them too. So companies are looking out for anything that came out in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and they're just waiting to jump on that to remonetize it, because it's a whole new market now. And I don't think we've ever been in a world where nostalgia, like, something that came out in the 20s, you wouldn't have had that nostalgia power in the 50s where, like, oh, we're bringing back that Great Gatsby.
But in retrospect, or in a different term, think of what your parents are nostalgic for. Like, when I go see my grandparents, my grandpa wants to watch these movies from when he was a kid, and baseball and sports like that. But, like, it's just, I would agree with you in saying that it's now more marketable, but I think every generation that's alive wants to have things from when they were younger, because that's just what they appreciate more, and they have fond memories of it. It takes you back to a different time frame. So
they do, but the difference is we're in a time where, say, your grandparents, when they were young, they didn't have anything that belonged, like, marketing wasn't really that big of a thing. Like, I'm sure their toys were made of woods and strings and stuff, and you can bring that back. Like, you don't have to get a copyright for that to bring, like, those toys back, or, like, maybe they worked on farms or stuff. The whole concept of commercialism.
I see what I see what you're saying with that.
It's a new concept.
Yeah, the stuff that we grew up on has patents and people own it. And look at video games. Atari's back and television's back.
Yes.
Acclaim was bought. You know, the name Acclaim was bought. Some of the games that Acclaim made were bought.
Mhm.
Like, how are you going to preserve that shit? Somebody owns it. You know, you're going to pay them a shit ton of money to have the rights to it? Like, no.
Right. So it is a challenge because now everything has a business opportunity behind it, and nobody wants to give that up because they're hanging on to it with the hopes. Like Pac-Man, nobody wants to give that up as a public domain because they're still selling merchandise. Oh, remember Pac-Man? You can buy Pac-Man shoes and Pac-Man shirts. Like there's so many ways to still sell Pac-Man, which is crazy because it's such a simple game. So you're not seeing that. Like no one's gonna let go of that or allow for a copy. I don't know. I feel they should allow for a copy of those old arcade games to be preserved, but like I don't Nintendo could say Nintendo's kind of like George Lucas though, in the fact that they can preserve their games, but they're never going to re-release it to the public. Best example is the new Switch Online system with the original Zelda, which they completely re-released as a special edition, and they made a whole bunch of changes to it that people don't like.
Well, they still have the original on there.
Oh, the original is there? Okay.
This was a special edition.
Right. Nobody likes the special editions.
Yeah, you know, Pac-Man came out in 1980, so that's almost 40 years old.
Right. But like,
you think in 10 years, Namco or Bandai Namco's just gonna be like, Pac-Man, what the fuck is that? Public domain. Like, fuck no.
No, of course not. No, they just made a film out of it, which, ugh, I don't even want to talk about that, but yeah. And they made a cartoon series out of it. Like, it's in Smash Brothers. Yeah.
A Pac-Man mini arcade, brand new. It's coming. It's a little thing, not like my Street Fighter baby, my Christmas present to myself.
Yeah, it's crazy that in our lifetime, like I would say, our parents' generation saw the age of IPs. Like IPs didn't really exist before. Like in our grandparents' generation, there weren't such a thing as IPs. That's new to us. And we're at a point where I don't know if there's like IP saturation, but our generation is getting a lot less creative at making powerful IPs. Like Splatoon is hard to make. Like Splatoon is a whole new IP created in 2000 whatever 15, 16, whenever it came out, and it's very hard to create a new IP. I feel these days. Maybe I'm just being pessimist. I don't know. Fortnite's a new IP and that worked too.
IP freely.
Good for you. But, okay, so let's close it down with preservation for video games. Should it be done? Yes or no?
I mean, should everyone have $1 million? I mean, yeah, but should it be done? Probably. Will it be done? No.
Okay, that's a fair answer. Should it be done? Yes. How? That's still up for debate, and I don't know. Maybe it'll be one of my life's work as I try to figure out how to do it.
Good luck.
It's an uphill battle, that's for sure. All right, let's get into the lightning round. And this is where we take your topics, your questions, anything, any of your thoughts, topics. Toss it up in the chat. We're going to bring it up into the stream. So anyone who's listening to this show, not live, will get to hear your thoughts, your comments, your questions. So let us know, what are your thoughts on game preservations on the N64 Classic, on the games you've been playing this past week, on Call of Duty, or on Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Let us know your thoughts. Oh, geez. RPG says in Canada, the duration of copyright cannot be extended or renewed, but is 70 years since 2015. So, good luck waiting on those IPs.
Fucking Canada. Third world country.
Says the guy in a country embroiled in the worst politics I've seen in my life.
Yeah, the media just makes it that way. It really does. Like, media and social media.
Especially social media now.
Like, fucking Christ, this whole Kanye thing, it's like... So it was... I don't want to get political. I just think it's very ironic. No, I just think it's very... Because I don't claim a side or anything. Like, I don't vote. I'm not registered to vote. I don't give a fuck. I still have to wake up and, make money. But I find it ironic how many people during that thing when Kanye was on stage or doing some benefit with Michael Myers, and he was like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. everyone was like, good man for saying that. And now that the dude likes a Republican candidate, it's like, this motherfucker, what is he doing? He's betrayed us. It's like, why do you care about what a celebrity's political affiliation? Like, I don't care what my neighbor's political affiliation is. Like, you're a Republican, cool. You're a Democrat, cool. You like to worship Satan, cool. Are you a decent person? Do you go sacrificing babies? No, okay, you're fine. It's fucking crazy.
People care because we are a society of followers and sheep. And
yes.
You can see that through celebrities, influencers. People will follow. The bigger the influence, more people follow that. So if that influencer says something that's really whack, other people outside of that influence circle are going to get scared because that's a lot of sheep that are going to follow that.
Like to me, it's so fucking bizarre that if a celebrity, a movie star, a musician comes out and says, oh, I think Donald Trump's okay. It's like, motherfucker! Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, get on this now! And they're like, this motherfucker. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you people? Like, are you going to get mad at someone's religion next? Are you going to get mad at someone's, beliefs on anything? It's like, it's the one fucking person's opinion of something. Like,
but why they do it? They do it for the clicks. Like, a media site needs to drive traffic to stay afloat, which is a huge conflict of interest when you think about what the whole purpose of a news outlet is to report news. But when the news needs money to stay afloat, they're going to do whatever they need to drive clicks to the website to get ad revenue.
I mean, it's to the point now. I don't know if you know anything about how American cable and channels and shit are, but like CNN and Fox News, they're literally pigeonholed into parties.
Yeah, and
they're
Democrat
literally
and Republican. Yeah,
CNN is very liberal. Fox News is very conservative.
Yeah.
And it's like it's heavily promoted, and it's like, where's the fucking news here? Like, where's I can't get involved into it. And it's like the only thing I care about politics is I asked my grandpa last time I saw him. I said, you've been around for, I think he's 78. I said, you've been around for 78 years. How many things that have happened in politics and all the presidents that you've lived through have directly impacted you as far as how you wake up and go about your day? And he said, the only thing was the enactment of Social Security.
But your grandfather's a white man, right?
He's Italian. He was an immigrant.
Well, he's a white man.
He's an immigrant.
Immigrant white man is very different than an immigrant of color or of female gender in the way that they're treated.
So should I bring my grandma into this? Who was
you
also
should
an immigrant?
you should actually. Your grandma would have.
I
would like to hear your grandmother's opinion of it.
She actually said the same thing. So I mean, I don't know. It's the Jesus, why are we talking about this? The media makes America look like this fucking war zone, and like,
no, I'll tell you though, without getting political,
throats.
The problem that's going on with America right now is you've become such a polarized society, regardless of, and I'm like a liberal thinker and person of belief, but I can still say that in America you've become so polarized that it's this or that, and that's not productive to anyone. Because the whole aspect of democracy is to have different points of views, have a conversation and a debate, and find out what's best for the people. But now it's become so polarized, it's either you're red or you're blue, and there's blinders. There's no seeing anything outside of that. And that's the biggest issue right now. Right.
Yeah, you can't see the actual things through. It's like, oh, you're in a gray area? Oh, fuck you, motherfucker. Like,
right.
Well, and it's also because the two-party system has been around for so damn long.
True. I mean, in Canada, we have a multi-part, like you can have as many parties as you want here. And it's funny because only one tends to be what you would call Republican, and we have like 3 Democrat parties. So take that as you will. But yeah, let's get back to the lightning round. What else we got in here?
So Starlink, are we going to buy the game, the toys, and the DLC? The game's going to be like $500. From what I've been hearing, just buy the Star Fox set on the Nintendo Switch, and you will be good to go, my boy.
Yeah, if you want to be a full Starlink boy, you'll probably need, or girl, you'll probably need the full $500. But like, come on, any Toys to Life game has been an investment of $500.
Any gender.
Or any gender. Sorry.
Come on, boy or girl. And you call yourself a fucking liberal.
Let's not get into it, all right?
Oh, Jesus. No one can have a debate without arguing anymore. You're not wrong. I feel games nowadays aren't complete games with day one patches, so the fight against digital is for naught. What do you guys feel?
So the fight against digital is for naught.
Yeah, I mean, most of the games, most games when you buy them, there is a day one patch. Yep. Some games force you to do it. Some games don't. So I don't know. It depends.
I mean, the digital has crept. Like, if you are a physical collector, you're doing it not for the sake of having the game, but really to have a token of that game, because at this point there's so much digital dependency on anything you get, even your physical cart or your physical disc. It's not even physical anymore. Like you can't play your game off your physical medium anymore.
Well, with the Switch you can for some games.
So
That's because that's why a lot of people are praising that the Sega Genesis collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch, because everything is going to be on that cart, thus preserving that.
Well, that's good.
Whereas on the disc, you had to still download something,
right,
to make it work or something or whatever.
But that's more of I'd say that's more of a symptom of the limitation of disc. Like, I think we're getting close to the end of life of discs. Discs have had their 20-year run.
No, there's a new Blu-ray format that's coming out. That's really big. I still don't buy the notion of physical media completely dying. Some people say, oh, in the next 5 years, fuck off with that. In the next 20 years, it'll be a very different landscape.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, I mean, digital will rise, but you also have to factor in, we've talked about this a million times, when people talk about digital sales, they also include things that are only available digitally, as in cell phone games, as in PC games. And the gap isn't as completely massive when it comes to actual video games on consoles and stuff like that. Now, if a console manufacturer decides to forego any sort of physical media in the next 10, 15 years, that's risky, because there's still a lot of places, everyone assumes that, the well-built, or, the countries that have a lot of technology, America, and all that stuff,
Canada.
There's still, Canada. Okay, idiot. I said America, not the United States of America. Last time I checked, Canada was part of North America. I know my geography.
It's because you always call us a third world country. That's why I slid it in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're a third world country that's like, not as bad as like
second world
Somalia.
country.
Maybe give you that. With your $80 games, though, that kind of puts you down to third world. But even in those places, there's still tons of places that do not have good internet.
Right.
And is that going to be fixed in the next 5 to 10 years? I don't think so. And then you have countries where there's limitations, all because there's only so much internet that you can have, like, right now. Like, yes, it grows and grows and grows, but it's not like it's going to happen overnight.
So much internet out there.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it's very... People that say that, you're going to see an all-digital age in 5 years are fucking idiots.
5 years is here. Okay, if we're going to get philosophical, let's take this to the whole philosophical level. When you think about the whole purpose of physical medium, it was a means to an end to get a product to an end user, which became more and more obsolete as the internet picked up, and you could have a digital connection directly to a server to get that product. Now, if we get into a world where there are more major political systems, oh man, this is getting so crazy, that are getting behind this whole global warming thing and are trying to reduce carbon footprint, they're going to be looking at ways like you could see a rapid growth of internet accessibility to all parts of the world, where more and more information can be delivered to people, and then you can reduce manufacturing, scale that back, and because that works towards a better future where there helps fight towards global warming. But all of that all depends on political systems, if they believe in that or not, because not all political parties believe in the global warming threat. So I think that that's really your defining life. If you're going to get liberal democracies into world powers, then you could see the adoption of fast speed internet faster than, say, a conservative.
What the fuck is the thing going on right now with people saying like, don't eat beef because cow farts are ruining the world?
Legit. No. So this is true. So when you look at all of the source of carbon dioxide in the world, man, this podcast has derailed so much at this point. When you look at all of the carbon dioxide in the world, the majority of it is said to be attributed to methane gases that come out of cows, and not just cows, but you're also talking about all, like, when you look at the whole ecosystem to sustain beef, which comes from like farming the food to feed the beef, and then the whole system to maintain the beef, and then kill the beef, and then distribute the beef. Like, that whole system just to get you a burger is probably the most inefficient system and the one that leads to global warming the most. That's why people are saying stop eating beef if you really want to help in this whole global warming system.
I mean, can't you just change the way you do it, like, to make it more efficient?
Well, the thing is, like, a cow apparently farts a lot or burps a lot, which leads to a lot of CO2. So the more people eat beef, the more cows you have in the world, and it's just a bigger problem. So if we can if you eat beef 5 times a week, if you can scale that back to like once a week, and then all the other days of the week you eat chicken or pork, you're helping the world by doing that.
Yeah, I don't really care about the world. I'm gonna eat my beef.
Well, we're not going to get into that today. What other questions do we have? Someone was saying for Starlink, you can actually, if you don't want to spend $500 to get everything, you can get all of the digital stuff. I think for $80. Someone said. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah,
but I
think it is.
If you can like avoid, if you don't care about getting all the toys, you can get all the content digitally a lot cheaper. All right, we are past the 1 hour mark, but let's get all the last questions because we had a very political show tonight.
I just think it's weird.
Which part?
The cows farting thing. I feel like some data maybe got mixed up there.
No, man.
Like how the fuck is a steam chimney? You know, these factories are, you know, polluting the air and shit like that, and all these fucking cars with their carbon monoxide. No. It's the cows farting that's fucking everything up.
Like, you think it's silly, but like, think about how much. Just think about America, how big America is. Think about how much beef needs to like go out every day to feed America. And now think of how many cows that, like, you're talking about hundreds of millions of cows. And apparently cows fart a ton.
So then give them a butt plug.
That's just going to make cows explode. It doesn't like make the fart go away.
They die. You get the beef, don't you?
Yeah, but if the fart's contained in the cow, then the cow explodes and all the methane gas still
comes out. What about where cows are holy, like in India? Are we going to go to India? We're going to go to India and say, look, Mr. Indian, you need to get rid of your cow.
They don't eat cows, so it's fine. It's actually better. We should adopt the Indian cuisine where it's all vegetarian.
Ew, no, fuck that.
That's why they don't touch the cows, you know? Well, that's not why.
I don't know. I sort of think the world is going to, you know, I mean, we had an ice age and shit like that. That wasn't because of any sort of, you know, man-made stuff. I think...
You think we're at a reset button?
No, I think do I think global warming exists? To some degree, I do, but I don't think I think people don't factor in enough that the Earth has been here for so long and so much shit, you know, has happened.
So I'm just going to put it out there because I definitely am a believer of data and science. You don't think that the human race has become so influential on the planet that we could potentially be influencing the planet's climate with everything that we do?
I just said that I think it does play a factor, but I don't know how big of a factor.
Okay.
Versus the actual, just what the Earth is going to do on its own.
Okay, that's fair. All right, next question. RPG, with all the studio acquired, online superiority, and online streaming, do you foresee Microsoft being on top for the next gen consoles? Good question. That's a really good question. Why not?
Because games matter at the end of the day.
But they're acquiring a ton of studios, which could lead to a ton of games that are first party.
It could, but I mean, I haven't seen any yet. Have you?
No.
Okay, then.
Microsoft is definitely playing the long game here, but I'm a little bit scared at what they're doing because if you look at Microsoft's history, they'll buy things, but then they'll sell it at the first sign of distress.
Or they won't do anything with it. Rare.
That's very good example.
I mean, what the fuck is Rare done?
Very good question from James. Will you guys do the Video Game Awards show again like last year? You betcha we will. The Video Game Awards is a staple of Class vs. Crass. It's actually the reason Class vs. Crass even exists. We're going to have Sean's lovely face and my drunk face back on for the Game Awards. Data used to be on PC installed this too, so what? Okay, Mr. PC Master Race. I don't know if you guys are even getting into the political talk here. I'm still scrolling back from a few comments away. A lot of fart comments. I bet curry is worse than beef.
Yeah, what about humans farting? There's 7 billion fucking humans in the world.
Yeah, but we don't
Gotta
have...
get rid of the humans are farting too much.
As silly as it sounds, that could be like, if you really want to save the world, seriously, get rid of some humans. Too much farting.
I'm all for that.
This has taken a crazy turn. What if the answer to carbon emissions is a cow butt plug filter? A filter, though, a cow butt plug filter. Now you're talking. If you can invent that, you might be like the next Nobel Peace Prize winner. People just stop commenting. Then we got some religious talk in here. We're not gonna get into religion tonight.
That's next week.
that's next week. What else we got?
Hey RGT, are you getting any more arcade 1-up? Maybe the Mortal Kombat or Simpsons or Tournament Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones that might come out next year. Yes, I actually, after making my video, because I couldn't get a review copy, even though there's channels that have like 3,000 subs that got a review copy.
Like who? Vent it. Let it all out. Be raw.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember the channel name. But yeah, I saw some fucker with it. I was like, what the hell? I sent them my video, and I was like, hey, maybe we can work together in the future. And they
those
liked my
low
video.
view channels are the most entitled little biatches, too.
I've heard that the Mortal Kombat thing is a reality, and honestly, that's the one I sort of hope that I could get my hands on for as a review unit, because I don't like playing the old Mortal Kombats, because I just think they haven't aged well at all. But I would love to have that just as a collection piece. But like, you know, if they do like an X-Men and a fucking Turtles, like I will drop $300 on that. Like whatever. The Final Fight cabinet, I'm thinking of buying that too. Like it just depends on how much, you know, space I have, you know, at the time of those releases or something. I would love to have like a whole fleet of them though. That'd be really cool.
Amy with the science here. We can use farts as a source of fuel because of the nitrogen content found in farts. Today I learned.
I think we're done here.
Last one here. There was actually a legit question. Have any of you bought Luigi's Mansion on 3DS?
I haven't. It's I want to, but it's tough, and this week is so busy. It's just like shit. I'm hoping one of my cousins gets it, because I'm going up there in 2 weeks, and I could play it. I could play there, just like kick him in the head, be like, "Give me your 3DS, bastard."
Yeah, play it. I'm not playing my 3DS ever. Like, if anybody wants some 3DS games, let's make a deal. I'm not touching that system. I can't. I like it. It was already hard for me when I was playing the Wii U to enjoy the 3DS, but now that the Switch is out, it's just like, nah. Sonic Sega asking, is Super Mario Party worth it for one person? Good question, because I actually Sean says no. I actually got Mario Party this weekend, but I'm not going to play it until I get some people over, because I'm not doing single player.
I honestly am thinking of regifting it to my cousins for Christmas.
How many cousins you got?
Well, my first cousin has 2 sons, and then has an adopted son. One is 14, one is like 6, and then one is...
I only asked for a number, sir, not a whole
3
family tree.
3.
You have 3 cousins?
No.
How many?
My cousin has 3 kids.
I asked how many cousins do you have?
Fuck if I know. We're Italians. Everyone's your fucking cousin.
Take a guess. Your parents, how many brothers and sisters do they have?
Real
Your
parents?
biological parents, yes.
I don't know. He had a brother. He died.
Oh, geez.
He's dead.
Oh, man.
And then he had a sister.
She died?
That I haven't talked to her, and she might be dead. Who knows? I haven't talked to her in fucking 20 plus years. And then they had 2 or 3 kids. And then my uncle has 2 kids, of which one is like 30 and has 3 kids.
Okay. So like 20, 30? You say Italians have a lot of cousins. I'm French, and I got 50.
Well, see, the thing of it is everyone's your cousin.
Yeah, I've got about 20 aunts and uncles, like on both sides. Each parent is part of a litter of like 10 kids. Had to make the babies in the Christian world. Had to feed the farm, and it was a sin if you wasted the seed.
I'm a seed waster.
Oh, you sure are. That's enough of that. We are really getting off the rails. So we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining the Class vs. Crass podcast. It's a podcast that's here every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, unless there's some weird exception, like someone's out of town or we have a special guest. But for this next week, what do you have to look forward to? Sean, what's up on your channel?
I have no idea. Go watch my Black Ops review. That went up a couple hours ago. I guess I'm going to have a Sinner review up for Tuesday. Don't know what I have up for tomorrow. Tuesday we'll also probably have some Starlink related content, like an unboxing, because I haven't really seen anyone do an unboxing of the actual production unit. Then there'll be some Dark Souls remastered content for Friday, news videos whenever they pop up. Who the fuck knows what's going to show up in my inbox or my house, so who knows? But definitely there'll be some Sinner. There'll be some Dark Souls.
I got something coming in your inbox.
What?
That deal we talked about? You're getting that.
Yeah!
That should be hitting your inbox your mailbox very soon.
Yeah! I actually look forward to that. It's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun, and the business aspect of it is.
All right. Over on my end, the thing that you can look forward here on Hey Jay is actually next Sunday on Class vs. Crass, we're going to have another special guest joining us. We're going to have the CEO of Studio. I'm probably going to bastardize his name. It's either Yata or Yota. But they are the studio behind the animation for various games like Sonic Mania. They also did, I think, what's that game with Shovel Knight's animation? It's like called, it's like a indie fighter. It's like Ether.
Blade Strangers.
That's not, no.
Brawl Out.
Well, they did the animation for Brawl Out, but they also did another one for Aether, something Aether. Anyways, so we're going to be talking about this, talking to the CEO of that studio, and they also made a Rick and Morty short for like Adult Swim or something. So it should be a really interesting conversation. So join us next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on this channel. We're going to be back with another special Class vs. Crass. Until then, though, keep on gaming and keep it classy, or as Sean would say,
stop the cows from farting!
thank you.